Is Web3 better than Web2? When I hear Web3, the image that comes to mind is just numbers, coding.
The NFT market is actually still very active. Like actually Nike, they bought a company named Dxpert. They are selling digital Nike shoes. MapleStory just came out with Web3 version. Your equipment, your items in game is all NFT.
How do you feel about Go, Chuan?
For Go, I'm always not a big fan of, but
Welcome back to the Dxpert podcast, where we break down financial trends, emerging tech, and market shifts that shape the world we live in today. I'm Janu, and joining me today are two great minds from different corners of the market. We've got June, our in-house analyst, and special guest Chuan, who specializes in Web3 and blockchain. In this episode, we'll start by unpacking what Web3 really is, why it matters, and how it could change the way we interact with the internet today. From there, we'll dive into Chuan's crypto ventures and finish with a look at what's happening at the US stock market right now. Let's get into it. So guys, for many, Web3 is still a vague or intimidating term. It promises to shift the internet from centralized platforms to decentralized ecosystems. But the reality is still evolving, right? So let me try breaking it down a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, Web 1 was the early phase of the internet where there was static websites, and Web 2 brought us different platforms, social media, e-commerce, but with one trade-off. We gave up our ownership of our data to centralized companies. And now, Web3 promises a decentralized internet where users own their data and applications run on blockchains instead of centralized servers. But is this the future or just another tech buzzword? Let's find out. So let's start simple. Chuan, there's a lot of noise around Web3. But if we strip it back, what is Web3 actually about? And more importantly, what's the real difference between Web2 and Web3? From a user's point of view or a trader's point of view?
So I think I'll start with user point of view first. For Web 2, I think most people will know is social media like X, Facebook, YouTube, where we gave up our ownership of our personal data, and they can use our data to do those big data research and earning profits from it. But in Web 3, we actually own our own personal data, can be anonymous at the same time, and also can gain profit if someone trying to buy our assets. Let's make some example. Today I posted a video on YouTube. YouTube will gain profit from it, but he will try to split a little bit of it to us. But in Web3, let's say your artwork, you make it into an NFT and you sell it online, it's on chain, you will get the full profit of it. Yes. So this is how the NFT come out, I think during 2021. That was the era for NFT.
Yeah.
But because it is moving too fast, so a lot of bubbles build up. So it actually went down a bit for now.
Yeah, it did.
But the NFT market is actually still very active, but most is, I think, the blockchain people, or what we call that people that are active on crypto will only know about it.
True,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, I remember back then in 2021 when NFT was a hype, where the ape, what ape was it? That was
Yeah,
a
the
name.
Bored Ape.
Bored Ape, right? Yeah,
Yes.
it was so famous. A lot of famous people was buying it, and then slowly the hype just died down.
Because for NFT, actually, most people think it's just a
picture.
electrical
Mm.
thing, but actually it's more like a proof that you are the members of the projects. Like today, if we in traditional perspective, you own a shares from a big company, every year you will have some benefits, right?
Yeah.
Like instead of the interest, they will send you some gift. Yes. Like in Web3, if you own something like a Bored Ape, when something that we call as airdrop or pre-sale is going on, you will be the first one that can join and you can gain profit from it. So
Kinda like
that's
your-
the main reason why NFT exists instead of just selling profile pictures online.
It's like a membership in a
It's
way.
like a club
Yeah.
membership.
Yeah.
So like if you are a club membership in the real world, you get to go to probably a golf club, or you get to swim, or you get to use their facilities.
Feels very exclusive.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But actually Web3 for now is trying to combine with our real life. Like actually Nike, they bought a company named Artifacts. So they are selling digital Nike shoes. Let's say avatar to wear
Wear
it.
them. Wow.
Yes. Instead of just having the digital version, they actually in real life also have a limited version of your shoes.
Do you own
Which-
both?
Yes.
Oh.
Which the shoes, how it looks like on chain, you will have it in real life and it's one and only.
Limited edition.
Yes.
Wow.
And always you can get great discount from Nike since you are the members of what I think their name now is Swoosh, the logo of it.
I'm curious if you sell that shoe in real life or you sell it on
of
chain.
course you
Do you-
can sell separately in real life, but
Marketing.
I think most people will try to buy it from you with the digital one.
True.
Yeah, because just getting the physical one,
It's just
it
another
doesn't
shoe.
mean another thing.
Yeah. What do you think is the pros and cons of Web 2 and Web 3? Before that, let me ask you both. Do you think is Web 3 better than Web 2?
For now, I think for user friendly, I think from the UX perspective, is Web 2 having a big advantages because Web 3 is totally non-user friendly for now. The whole interface is still very clunky. Speaking about protection of your own personal data, definitely would be Web 3. And also if you're trying to gain some profit through Web 2 or Web 3, it's definitely Web 3 again.
What about you, Jun?
As what Chuan has said, Web3 is still in its infancy. Okay, I grew up in a time where when I first started my venture, it was during Web2's hype era. So at the time, there was a lot of new startups that are making software and app and SaaS companies. So at the time, that was at the time. Because it was so new, we are in a stage where we are transitioning from the first, as in Web 1, where, you know, information goes one way, you ask, and then the servers will give you another answer, into one where we actually communicate with one and another. I grew up during that stage. But at the time, even a very simple web page, if you were to just to start that page, it's going to take a very long time. It's going to take some time as compared to now, because right now, if you go into AWS, you just press a button and then the website is started. Then back then, it's very similar to how Web3 is right now. If you want to transfer something, if you want to do anything, it's very troublesome. Yeah, basically. So back then, Web 2 was like this as well. Just to start a website, I need to code. I don't have a button to press, and I need to tell the computer everything that I need to do. So right now, it's pretty much like that. Not easy to use, but I think over time, things will get better.
To hear
Yeah.
how you saw, like you experienced Web 1 to Web 2, and then now we have AI, you know, it's just so interesting because you needed 1 hour just to prompt your computer, to code your computer to reach a website that you wanted. And now, if we want just a simple information, we type it into ChatGPT and we get so much. Like,
Yeah.
innovation blows my mind, okay? But okay, let me also ask you this question. Because you were there in the Web 1 era, were people skeptical about Web 2?
As always, no matter what you do, even in real life, when you say skepticism, I think a lot of it has to do with security. You get hacked, your website get hacked, or your bank wallet get hacked. The same thing is happening to Web3 as well. And even in real life, even a physical bank gets robbed. In the real life we call it robbed. In the internet we call it hack. So it's the same thing. No matter where you go, if there's a loophole, then that's where you are vulnerable. So saying if I'm skepticism, in the end of the day, as in if the trust is there and if the support is there, the community is there, we will try to develop it, because the pros is, as in the long run, you have more benefits to cover up all this skepticism. Yeah.
So it's worth the
It's worth the effort for this innovation to happen. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Chuan. So you've been in this Web3 space for some time now. And I think you've mentioned pretty clearly that it's still pretty much in the early experimental stage. So if you were to put a percentage on it, what percentage would you say we're in right now for Web3, the progress?
I think mostly 25%.
25%.
A
June,
lot more to go.
what about you? Would you agree?
I'm somewhere the same as well.
All
Yeah.
right. Now let me ask you guys, how long do you think it would need for us to for it to be used in a mainstream basis? Because
Okay.
because Web 2 took like how many years to, be
I think
stable?
that the entire thing until where we are right now is about
15
probably
to 20 years.
15 to 20 years. Yeah,
Mm.
because Web 1 it took about 10 years, and then
Mm.
Web 2 took another 10 years. Yeah, so that entire thing I would call it the same generation because it's basically just centralized.
Yeah.
Yeah, just technology advances.
Mhm.
Computer can talk with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But for this side, I think the main hurdle is on policies and regulation. In the centralized world, a lot of the things that we see, of course, policy is always slower than innovation, but then things just happens. But over here, because it's decentralized,
It's
government-
harder to be compliant.
yes, because
on
government
Web3.
wants control. That's where the hurdle is, because if you are decentralized, you can't control.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like what I say just now, everyone can be anonymous
Yes.
on chain,
Yeah.
which most countries, government don't want this to
Yeah.
happen.
If government supports, the development of Web3, innovation is going to go fast because it's just a replication. A lot of this is just a replication of Web2.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you allow it, it's going to move. But right now, I think we have more positive news on this space.
From your personal view, going from centralized to decentralized, how do you guys feel about it? Because I mean, talking to you guys, I feel like you guys are the people that really, you love innovation, you love seeing, these progress, technology. But how do you feel about it? How do you feel about, because like you guys said, there's also risk, but there's also a lot of, there's a lot of pros, but there's still cons. How do you personally feel about Web3?
For me, I think Web3 is a thing that is going to happen soon because nowadays, people that are getting stolen or getting used to doing something that the owner of the data that don't want it to happen. And as AI you mentioned, you can using AI making some fake videos through it. So I think Web3 with further development and also well compliance, it can actually make the whole, let's say, the internet space or the whole online space be more safer.
I wanted to ask Chuan also, like, by safe, in which area do you think that we need that is
Safer.
needs to be safer, and it's the
Like-
priority for this space? Yeah.
Like for now, actually, most of the online e-commerce website, they actually can go through your purchase history and they will have a data like what's your net worth and are you rich or poor. But if your money is on the chain, like you saving as a USDT or BTC on chain, keep in your wallet, no one will know how many money you have. And if no one know you are rich, which means you are safer
That's
in
true.
current era.
That
Yeah.
is true. But this kind of brings me to a marketing point of view, because what you said is true. They go through your purchase history and they provide me the ads that I want to see, which is not
Yes.
great, guys. It's not great. So it's not safe, okay? So
Spending too much.
because they're targeting right. But anyways, switching to Web3, would I stop receiving really well targeted ads?
I think this is what Web3 can do, but
Thank you.
is they going to let it happen? Are we not sure yet? Because
Mm.
it's still in a very early development stage. And I think if Web3 is going to use this as the advantages, it's going to be pushing more faster in the whole process. Yeah.
What happens if you can't find the dress that you want without that
Look,
recommendation?
I want the dress. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go find it. Don't suggest it to me when I don't want it, because
So-
then
no,
I'm going to want it.
Yeah, you
you
want
know?
it.
That's not good. So okay, so you guys are also saying Web3 takes a lot of your information and stuff. Does that mean I would stop, if I'm on Web3, I would stop getting those pop-ups, accept this, cookie settings?
Like instead of just the data safer. I think another thing is the copyright.
Mm.
Like until today, I think there's still a lot of what we call pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh no, so we're
this
not
is-
gonna have any pirate.
Yes, this is how Web3 going to protect those assets
I see.
in its own way. Like instead of Web2, we still having a lot of free
Mm.
stuff online, which is illegal.
Okay. I see. So, from a user's point of view, it actually, although it looks like Web 2, it functions like Web 2, but there are going to be a lot of changes in terms of a user's point of view, right?
Yes.
I'm just curious, like you say, a lot of the things can't be tracked, right? But in every chain, there's actually this thing called the block explorer.
Yeah.
You can actually track
You can track every
address.
transaction,
Yes.
every address,
Yes.
but no one know who's the owner of
Yes.
the address.
Yeah, because the
So,
address is just numbers and
It
alphabets.
end up,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You can see how I transfer all my money to someone, but you don't even know who owns the address. Like if someone figure out you are the owner, you can just change another wallet. It doesn't
Huh.
matter.
That's interesting. So,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as username. We need to change it to
No.
our actual name.
That's why I say it's not user friendly at all. Like for wallet, we use seed phrase.
Mm.
It's a 18 words combination, and if you just forget it, there's no forget password for you,
Oh no.
Yeah.
and everything on that wallet will be gone, and no one can help you.
Yeah, it's not user friendly.
Yes.
Because I forget my password a lot.
Like if you're doing
Yeah.
bank transfer now, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
If you key in the wrong account number,
You
it
just
will be
call the bank.
reject.
True,
Yeah.
true.
But in blockchain, if you key in the wrong address and somehow the address actually exists, it will just gone.
What, has something like that happened before?
Yes, that's a lot of news. Someone just accidentally transfer to an address that is the same but is in a different chain.
Oh,
Let's
so
say for the Ethereum chain
Mm.
actually have the same address format with Binance chain. So if you just select the wrong chain and transfer it to the wrong chain, the money is gone.
that's
Yeah.
So how do you mitigate this?
Just always double check
Just double check.
for
yeah.
what you can do right now.
Okay, I'm doing it right.
because we're
you know.
still at the 25%, right?
Yes.
I'm looking at every number and alphabet before I click
Like
that
when
send.
Facebook just come out, we also have to just write down our username and password.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's not that easy
But at least
to
it's
forget
written by
password.
me, so I remember that.
Yeah.
You know your
For
your-
now, it's still a
your ad-
very what
your
we
address
call
is just random numbers and alphabets that is
Yeah.
assigned to you.
Yeah. So, well, people often associate Web3 with decentralization and user control. Basically, what we said, right? But in practice, it feels like a lot of the power still sits with the developer or the token holders. How far are we actually from an equitable model? And do you think that's even achievable? Because it feels like we're still. I mean, we spoke about tokenization. It still feels like somehow we are not in control. So how true is it that Web3 is completely, user control? Yeah.
You mean now the Web3 is actually controlled by user?
I think what she meant is
Mm.
that there's a transition in between Web 2 and Web 3, and then in
Okay.
between there's still this centralized company that
Mm.
is
Like Binance.
creating
Yes.
like
Yes.
Binance that is creating this bridge in between Web 2 and Web 3
I
because
think
as
for
we said,
now,
yeah.
those Binance, OKX, what we call exchange,
Yeah.
they are doing something like a tutorial
Mm.
for new users, which Binance and OKX actually have their own Web3 wallets now.
Mhm.
So in the same app, you actually can access to your Web3 wallets also.
Yeah.
And it's just a tap of clicking. You can
Mm.
switch from exchange to wallet.
Mm.
And what they're doing now actually, every time you're trying to use something new in, let's say Binance, they will have a short video for you to
Mm.
go through first, and you have to answer several questions
Oh.
and making sure you know how the things work.
Mhm.
Only they will let you access to it. I think this is what we can do in form of like telling how the users not to transfer wrongly or doing anything stupid that
Yeah.
causing losses.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think for this moment, centralized exchange or what we call company is still have their reason to exist,
Mm.
because it's really too hard for new users to know how to trade on Web3 or even doing a transfer.
Yeah.
Transfer on Web3, you need to pay gas fee. Let's say today I transfer USDT to you. I'm using the Tron chain. And you actually need the TRX using as your gas fee. And most people don't know how to do with it. They just transfer the USDT into the wallet. And when I'm trying to transfer it to you, it's showing not enough gas fee. Then what should I do if there's no one to teach me how to swap? Yeah.
From someone that is not very familiar with these terms, like when I hear Web3, the image that comes to mind is just numbers, coding.
This is what it looks like during Web 2 infancy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So I think, how long do you think it will take before the general public is?
For now, actually, the Web3 interface is way better than, let's say, 7 years ago. At that time, it don't have any interface or what we call system that can help you. It's just plain words and numbers. And even you did something wrong, you'll have to take some time for you to figure out what you did wrong. Yeah. But for now, actually, if you did something wrong, you can just find it out quickly. I think that's already a very big improvement.
True.
So let's say another 5 years, it will be more user friendly.
Okay.
And more people will like get into the Web3 world, because in real life now, most big company, big names are trying to get into the Web3 world also.
Do you think it will end up being like centralized again? Because the big companies are actually the one who are able to afford to build and develop this.
But actually, there's a choice for us, because you can choose to be in the centralized world, or you can go on to Web3. So there's a choice for you to make. Instead of now, we got no choice to make.
When Web3 is more normalized to the general public, it wouldn't mean Web2 would just disappear.
Yes.
Ah.
For someone that needs more help, like they always look for customer service, it's better for you to stay in Web2.
True.
It's gonna stay for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's gonna stay. People are still sending letters,
Up
although
until
we
now.
can just text.
True.
Yeah,
True.
and letter has existed for
But
a very
no one
long
is
time.
still in Web1, right?
When you are viewing a blog post, it's Web 1.
Ah, okay, interesting.
Just now you say like Binance is a centralized company, right? And then it's a centralized exchange. And then also we have DEX, where it's a decentralized exchange. So if more people transition to decentralized, what will happen to this centralized exchange?
For centralized,
long run,
let's say in Binance, they're actually trying to be more compliance with all countries' law and trying to be a legal exchange instead of DEX, which is fully illegal, and it's very dangerous for some new users to trade on it. Because on DEX, you actually can list a coin of your own name, and you just create your own liquidity pool. When someone just buy it, you can just run away.
So it's not project. There's no
Yes.
project. Wow.
But in
Isn't that-
Binance for now, they actually will like doing all those research, due diligence before they're listing a coin, like how the traditional stocks.
So speaking on this, me and June had like a short discussion earlier where you said there are different types of coins.
and different categories of
Yeah,
coins.
do you want to talk about that a little?
I can talk about that. Maybe Chuan can add on as
Yeah.
well. There are different types of coin. I think probably the most popular one is of course Bitcoin, Ethereum, and they are on the mainnet. There's also different types of coin for different purposes. So there are utility coins and there are meme coins that you see. That's where the hype is. And there's also
Stable coin.
stable coin. Yeah.
What's stable coin?
USDT.
Yes.
Ah, okay,
It's
okay.
in other words, it's pegged to a fiat currency. Yeah. So because in Web3 you need something that's stable, and a lot of the coins they fluctuate too much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
we should-
USDT is one of the ones that are like.
Yes.
Yes, it's the
You
more
just stick
stable
with
one.
the US dollar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's pegged to it 1-to-1.
So you mentioned there are certain coins which are run similar to scams, and this sounded similar to what you said earlier on the platform called DEX, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Decentralized exchange.
Yeah, so is there a bigger possibility of scams happening when the regulations are so loose?
Yes.
Yeah.
it's going to happen very often when there's no regulation and rules. Because even you run away with players' money, no one is going to track you, and they don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where the dangerous part is.
Then what's the difference between the scams and meme coins? Because meme coins are, it seems like they are kind of proud of being meme coins, like Dodge.
Actually,
before,
meme
yeah.
coins, they always come out with certain stories.
Why
They
it
have
became a meme.
some visions and missions to tell the world.
What is the most interesting story that you have heard of?
If we're speaking about meme coin, let's say for Doji,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone know about it because of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
It's just a coin that the creator just want to like
Make fun of.
make fun of, and
because of that dog.
Dog,
right?
he love his dog so much,
It's his
so
dog?
he want to like make the dog exist on the chain forever. Even after he passed away, it's still
Wow.
on the chain forever.
Wow.
But
And now it's a governmental.
Yeah.
The way it evolved, Elon Musk is next level. But yeah.
You know, there's another dog called Shiba.
a
Shiba
coin?
Inu coin.
Yeah.
Oh.
and
Also meme-
recently got a coin named Peanut. He's actually a squirrel,
Oh,
and it had a very nice story about a man and the squirrel, which you can search it online.
is it
And
a true story or is it made up?
It is a true story.
Wow.
Because of the story, someone made the coin.
See, I think the traders community is quite. They have a sense of humor.
Mhm.
You know, through these meme coins, you can tell. But how do you differentiate a scam and a meme coin?
Scam is something that the creator know he will just run away when the money is there. But meme coin, instead of scamming, they are like, I just want this on chain. I just want everyone to maybe have some fun and make it on the chain forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are also the modern way of different strategy of scamming people. So what he say, take the money and run. There are also another type of scams where, you know, it looks very legit. Everything is, you can use it, you can do things with it, you can transact with it. But then, as he said just now, there's this gas fee, right? They charge very insanely high gas fees. And if you ever trade anything before, you know there's this spread in between.
Yes.
So they have this gigantic spread. So whenever you buy, even just buying that coin, you are losing so much money that you will never recover. Yeah.
The highest gas
Yeah.
fee I've seen actually is 99.9%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's say you purchase $100, you just end up with a cent.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
What?
exactly. So
Yeah.
it's money that you will never gain back, even though that coin, you know, even if it spike, you will
But
still
the
not gain.
market the chart just look fine.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
you just didn't realize during when
Yes.
you're doing the swapping thing.
Yes.
So, what would your advice be for a, let's say, beginner trader in crypto?
Just stay in the centralized exchange first.
Or go with the more popular, the bigger one, and the one
Yes.
where the government actually recognizes, or the banks actually recognizes.
I
It's
think
even
most
better.
most country now actually have their own what we call recognized
Yeah.
exchange.
Yeah.
True.
Just
Yeah.
go with that list. Don't touch anything else.
Yeah. Basically, do your research.
Yeah, because the bank has done the research for you.
Yes. All right. And okay, June, so we were talking a bit on tokenization. You want to go into that a little bit before I go into the crypto space again?
On tokenization.
Yes. Just a general explanation on
Okay,
tokenization.
basically, what tokenization is, if you are comparing it back to Web2, it's pretty much just giving an asset and identity, and then you dissect that asset into a lot of parts. So for instance, probably in Web2, in the fiat world, we know there's something called crowdfunding. It can be just a normal crowdfunding. It can also be an equity crowdfunding. So basically, you giving in the fiat world, you are giving out shares. These shares is actually in the Web3 world is quite similar to just a token. That asset in Web3, they will generate the company that's managing that, they will issue tokens. In Web2, it's shares. Yeah, so you are actually buying that shares, or in Web3 token, you have piece of that asset.
So
It
I don't
can-
get the full asset on its own, but I get a little chunk of
yeah,
it.
because some assets it may be too expensive for you to afford. Like let's say if there's this 10 million house that you $10 million apartment that you want and you can't buy that, right? Because I don't have the money. Do you have the money?
No.
No. Yeah. So I probably can buy, maybe a piece of tile in that house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I can buy like one tile.
Yeah, I can buy like one tile. So probably that one token
Yeah.
is worth that one tile. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think what June's saying
Mhm.
here is the RWA, real world assets, which
Yeah.
they just pack the real world assets and make it on chain.
Yeah.
There's a thing called Tether Gold, XAUT, which is
Mhm.
similar with USDT,
Mhm.
which is a digital gold online, which you can just purchase 0.001.
How do you
Yeah.
feel about gold, Chuan?
For gold, I'm always not a big fan of, but the recent performance is actually shocking a lot of people.
Shocking.
Okay.
which
Is it shocking you,
also-
Chuan?
Yes.
In a good way?
Are you interested
Yes.
right now?
I'm trying to figure out how
Get-
to get some profit from it.
Yeah.
too.
Get out of
Yes.
crypto and go back to gold.
Alright,
I'm
alright.
just joking.
So yeah, you were saying XAUT.
Yes.
And it's also considered a stable
Stable coin,
Yeah.
which the value of it just linked to the real life gold.
Back to gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, going back to crypto a bit, I feel like the crypto space is since 2014, the crypto space has always been driven
Innovating.
by hype. It's always hype when it comes to crypto. So, from someone in your position in the crypto scene, do you feel like the crypto market is maturing, or are we still operating in a speculative first environment?
I think when most new things come up, there's always some hype.
But crypto isn't new though.
But crypto, the hype is way higher than other new products or what we call new inventions. And I think it's actually getting maturing
Mhm.
since all of a centralized exchange is doing their job,
Yeah.
and more people that have the crypto knowledge is always feel free to share with their own friends, and it's very good things for the crypto knowledge to spread around.
If there's a hype, right, you will see that in the stock market because there are actually crypto listed ticker or companies in the stock market right now.
If I'm not mistaken, Coinbase
Yes.
actually is
It's
listed.
Yes, it is. And the ticker is COIN.
And last year, I think it's 2023 or last year because I kind of forgot. Actually, the Bitcoin ETF is legal.
It's last year.
Yeah,
2024.
it's last year. Yeah. So actually, we can see the whole world is trying to accept it instead of just ignore it.
Yeah, it looks like the skepticism is still there, and it's kind of contradicting. I feel because the reason we're moving on to Web3 is because it's becoming decentralized, right? And the whole idea of crypto is the idea of a blockchain is decentralized, right? Yeah, I think it's a bit contradicting because we want to move that way, but we're also very skeptical towards it. We feel like it's safe because our data is we own our data, we're no longer giving out our data, but at the same time there's so much skepticism. So I think
it's not just skepticism. It's one part of it is whether it really relates to the general public. Because if you compare this hype to, let's say, the AI hype, AI everyone needs it. ChatGPT has the fastest rate of gain in users. No matter how you compare, whatever you compare, even the timeline, they are the fastest. And this is where it actually solves a real problem. But then crypto, it solves problem, but not everyone cares about that problem. Like for the general public or for most people, if you take, let's say, my data and you send me an ad, does it really matter? I still have the control to buy or not to buy, right? If let's say it's an advertising, if it's a shopping ad or whatever this, or whatever this, I still have the control there, even though they have that data, and it doesn't matter to me whether they have that data or not because it doesn't harm my life, right? But AI, it changes my productivity. This kind of hype, it's real because it's changing things. And during dot-com boom, back then when the Web2 hype was there, and eventually of course it becomes a bubble because too much investment went into it, and Web2, they have this insane hype is because finally we can have computers talking with each other, and it actually solves a real world problem. It actually solved the general public's problem, because suddenly you have, you know, just a one-way street into something where, you know, I can buy things online. I don't have to get out of my house. Things will come to me automatically. These things doesn't happen in Web3. It's just a transition, or whether you want to protect your own data, or you want to give it to, you know, pass it to,
You still can live well without
Yeah.
Web3.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of people
Yeah.
they just don't care about
Yeah.
their own privacy.
Yeah, because it doesn't, you know my name, I know his name, so
Yeah.
the companies know my name.
I
Does it
mean,
matter?
let's be
Yeah.
honest. We are
Let's be
in
honest, if
Yeah.
I'm not really rich enough,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually don't care about
Yeah.
like someone know I'm poor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. And like, if you talk about the time now, everyone wants to be known. That's the whole idea of social media.
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone wants to be famous. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be heard. So the whole idea of a decentralized Web3 is gonna upset a lot of influencers. Okay.
You know, it sounds like a rich man game. It's because
Yeah.
a rich man wants to protect their privacy, their data, and all these things. That's why even in the real life, probably they have a mansion, and then they have like this gigantic fence
Yes.
that looks like a, you know, like the Great Wall,
The
because
wall,
they
yeah,
want
yeah.
privacy.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's like a rich man's game. Yeah.
True. But Chuan, you did say that a lot of big companies are buying into Web3. My question is, wouldn't they want to own consumers' data? Why are they buying into Web3?
I think mostly because they want to join the hype,
Uh,
which they can make big commercials or big events telling the world they are joining the Web3, because mostly Web3 is still a younger generation things.
true.
If you want to adapt the younger generation markets, then of course you have to blend into it.
All right. So it's not really about whether they
Yes.
want to do it or not.
They
It's more
are
of a
just more like forced into doing it.
smart marketing move, though.
I think Chuan said that there's this Maple Story just came out with Web3 version.
They are on
of
the
themselves.
chain now. So when we are
Okay,
young,
just wait. It's not a promotion of Maple Story. Yeah, it's just an example. You know.
Yes.
So when we are young, right, we play Maple Story just for fun. You actually can't earn anything from it instead of fun. So for now, when it's on chain, like your equipment, your items in game is all NFT.
Wow.
And you can just sell it on the markets they provided, and you can earn money from it. Of
Wow.
course, when you're trying to buy something in the old way, we're just doing the top up thing and the game company earning the money. But now it's the player that earning the money. So it's like a play and earn concept that most game company trying to do now. Yeah.
But it's already happening.
It's happening for like 5 years since 2020. There's a lot of big games actually happen during this whole process, but most of them just gone because of along the way there's a lot of token. When you play, it will just mint it, and there's no way to burn it. Along the way, the token getting more and more, and the value just drop. For today, the Maple Story just launched. Let's see how it does in the futures.
How do you feel about it?
I still haven't like studied the whole thing, but they actually worked 3 years for this project until today they launch. So I think they are prepared with the burning mechanism.
You know, in the end of the day, whether it survive or not, it depends on that game. If the hype on in that game, let's say Maple Story, is still there, then there's value to that NFT. We actually do this during the Web 2 era as well. So Maple Story started during the Web 2 era. Instead of course, right now on chain is more convenient because like you can just transfer digital assets just like that, like you are doing a transaction. But back then, in order to find a buyer, we usually go to, you know, like a community. Let's say it's a Facebook group for Maple Stories player.
Or sometimes you can
yeah.
just list it on eBay.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. That's how we do the transaction. And you you do your fiat transaction in eBay, let's say, or you can just transfer
And
over.
there's a lot of scammer there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it sounds like a scam.
Yeah.
Like it's not something that I will go onto Facebook group today.
But
and
there are
then-
people who does this.
There
Yeah,
is,
there
yes.
are. There are. And then once you buy, then they go in game and transfer over to that character.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's the manual way of
But
doing
for
it.
now, it's on Web3, so you can
Yeah.
just do it through the markets
Yeah.
without knowing who your buyer is. Yeah.
Mm.
But at least there's this address that you know.
Yeah. How does this game thing work? So you're saying when I buy something in the game, I can sell that same thing in
Yes, let's say you just kill the boss in MapleStory.
Okay.
Then you just drop let's say a sword.
Okay.
Then you just want to sell it. And the sword actually become an NFT if you transfer it to the markets, which is the wallet.
Mm.
And it's unique, one and only. Although it's just an common item,
Mm.
but actually have its own address. So
Mm.
when someone want to buy it, you just swap it with USDT or Ethereum, whatever.
So people who buy these NFTs, are they people who's
Who
also
play
in the
the
game?
game, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So they want that specific sword.
And how the company earn from it, every transaction they actually charge some transaction fees, which is compared to
common.
last time they get everything, is more
True.
it's more attracting now.
True. Gamers have a really good future coming
Mm-hmm.
into Okay. All right. And well, now to wrap up, let's bring it back to traditional finance. Because while blockchain is pushing innovation, investors are still closely watching what's happening in the US market. Inflation, rate cuts, earnings season, there's a lot going on. But what does it really mean for the average investor? So, how are you both right now reading into the US stock market? Are we seeing a recovery? Are we still dancing on the edge of volatility and investor hesitation?
Right now, we can see that inflation is starting to slow down, and we can see that trade war or trade negotiations is getting better over time. And right now, even China and the US, they have like this 90 days delay in their tariff. Although it's not straight to zero, there's still a bit of tariff, but it wasn't as scary as back then.
How much are the tariffs right now?
10 and 30.
Okay, we went from
Yeah.
like
145.
to that's good.
Yeah,
yeah.
when
not
the
gonna
number
complain.
just go through 100, it just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
exactly.
because that's the discussion that I was having with them. They are like, at this point,
Even you
matter,
add up
yeah.
to 200
Yeah.
or 300, it doesn't matter.
yeah, at this point, it's just like who goes higher, you
Yes.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So with all these factors coming in, although the Federal Reserve hasn't lowered down interest rate yet, but with inflation and the lowered tariff, probably we could see a sustained bullish wipe in the stock market. Yeah. So probably risk asset would have returned. Even you can see that in the charts right now. Yeah. And it will probably sustain in a bullish momentum.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I have a question, and this question is for your benefit, for the viewers. Okay, June, I'll start with you. Is it a good time to jump onto the US stock market right now? Is it a good time to invest?
I think during Liberation Day, a lot of the stocks has went down quite a lot, and recently we have seen that recovery post Liberation Day, because there's a lot of negotiations that's going on, and there's good news that is coming out. Yeah, that's why the market recovered. I think this bullish momentum would stay, but still be cautious, because anything might change in negotiations. I might say something good now, maybe a few weeks later, maybe something bad comes out. Yeah, still, so do your risk management, although the bullish momentum is there in the stock market. Yeah.
It's looking good, but still trade with caution.
You
Right.
always trade with caution.
Always trade with caution, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Chuan, what about the crypto market? How is it doing? Is it a good time to jump on it right now? Because it looks like the general public is more open to crypto right now.
For now, actually, I think crypto markets have no signal of any bullish yet. But what we can do, like for most investors that are really new to crypto, they can just do a monthly investment of a very small amount of money. Like from what I know, if during these 5 years, what you do is just invest $50 in, let's say, Bitcoin or Ethereum, what you will get, let's say the APY per year can be up to 30 to 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this you're talking more from a long-term investor.
Yes.
point
Just
of
take it as a long-term investment and don't just put all the eggs in one basket.
yeah, diversify your cryptos. But also, do you view crypto as a more long-term investment type of thing?
Yes, I
Yeah.
always hold a lot of
Mm.
mainstream cryptos, let's say Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Why is it not common to do short-term when it comes to crypto?
It is very happy to do short terms in crypto, but what we're doing is we are expecting the futures to be more bigger and the value of the coin is way higher than now. So what we do is just keep on investing. This is what the word HODL in crypto,
Hold.
instead of hold,
Oh,
it just
Yeah.
hold until you die.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't get to enjoy the benefits of.
You cash
But
out lah. Cash
You
out.
can
Is it
cash
until I
out
die?
anytime,
Yeah, you
but
can cash
you
out
just
anytime.
always left something
Yeah.
in there. And
Alright.
when you have
Yeah.
spare money, just throw it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Alright.
the rate of Bitcoin or any crypto, the rate of which it rises, it follows the rate of which
Actually,
innovation happens.
last few days was the Bitcoin Pizza Day, which
yeah.
come with a story.
Yeah,
Many
yeah.
years ago, someone ordered a pizza and paid, I think, over 100 BTC just for a pizza.
When was that? What was the worth of Bitcoin then?
I
Bitcoin.
think that time it just come out. The value of one Bitcoin is around 10 cents. And he just paid it for a pizza.
Okay, man.
He's very famous. You can just look it online.
How is he doing? Okay, that's a lot of money lost. Okay, anyways, I definitely wanna have another talk with you, Chuan. You should definitely join us again because the topics that you covered today, the decentralized, Web3, the games, even crypto, there's so much more to talk about. So maybe we can have more episodes that dive into one specific topic. Because
Sure.
today's episode is more generalized, just to give the public a bit of knowledge on what's going on. Chuan, thank you so much for giving us an inside look at what it means to be building in this space. And June, always great to have you. That's all for today's episode. Big thanks to both our guests for the insight. And always, thanks to our listeners for tuning in. If you enjoyed this discussion, make sure to subscribe and follow us for more market updates. Remember, stay informed, stay ahead, and we will catch you next time.